Right, in 4.3, f of x is greater than g of x. So f of x is the parabola. Greater than that means this one must be above that. So it means parabola above straight line. Parabola above straight line. So now you can see the parabola is above the straight line. Can you see that? The parabola is above the straight line for all these x values. For all these x values. I'm going to put it in red. So the parabola is above the straight line for all those x values, because you must go from here where they cut. But that's not the only one. That's on this side. If you look on that side, the parabola is above the straight line for all those values. I'll repeat. The parabola is above the straight line for all those x values. So let's put that in red. So this time you have two sets of answers. One on the left, one on the right. Now if you look at the one on the left, it's -1 and all the numbers less than -1. So it's all the numbers less than -1. So how do you write that? We say x less than and equal to -1. If there's equal to there, I put equal to here. X is less than -1, or the next answer, all these numbers are greater than 3. So x is greater than and equal to 3. So that's how we get those answers. Remember, the parabola is above the straight line. Parabola above straight line. So it's here and it's there. For which x values? From the point of intersection this way, from the point of intersection that way. That answer there is x is less than -1. Now, in this case, you are reading from here, this way. So you're saying x is less than -1. Now you are reading this way, x is greater than 3. Alright, so that was 4.3. Now let's look at 4.4. In 4.4, f of x is greater than 0. Or let's do first f of x is equal to 0. Let's do this. F of x is equal to 0. For what values of x is f of x equal to 0? This is the parabola. F of x is a parabola. Is equal to 0. So what is this? This is really a y value. So this is another way of asking you what are the x-intercepts. This is another way of asking you what are the x-intercepts. If f of x is equal to 0, means a parabola, means the x-intercepts of the parabola. Because this is really a y value. This is a y value, right? So, because f of x, you can replace f of x by y. So really, what did he say? Y is equal to 0. So it's asking you, for what values of x is y equal to 0? So y is equal to 0 here for what values of x? For -2 and for 3. Y is equal to 0 for -2 and for 3. So, or x-intercept simply x equal to -2 or x equal to 3. 4.5. Now we can do f of x is greater than and equal to 0. F of x is greater than and equal to 0. So, now you got to be very careful. So I'm going to, f of x is equal to 0 for this x value. For this x value, f of x is equal to 0. So f of x greater than this simply means above x-axis. It simply means above x-axis. F of x greater than 0, because it is 0 here on the x-axis. Therefore, greater than 0 are all these numbers. So that means the arms above the x-axis. So let's do that properly. This is 0. So f of x is equal to 0 here. So if it's greater than 0, it means that arm there and this arm here. Now for what x values? So let's just do this here. This is, that is f of x greater than 0. Here it is equal to 0. That is greater than 0. Here it is equal to 0. So I can even do that there. So for what values? Clearly f of x is greater than 0 above the x-axis. For what values of x? From here, what is this value? This value is minus 2. So that answer is x is less than and equal to minus 2. Or if you look on this side, x is greater than and equal to 3. You see, this wavy part is positive for these x values, and these x values start at 2. This wavy part is above the x-axis for those values. Those are more than 3, more than 3, less than minus 2. Alright, so, or simply f of x greater than 0 means, look at the graph above the x-axis. Look at the graph. There's your x-axis. There's your x-axis. Look at the graph above the x-axis. Right, let's do 4.6 now. G of x greater than or equal to 0. So now we're looking at g of x. Let's change it, 4.6. Let's say g of x is less than and equal to 0. Less than and equal to 0 means you must look below x-axis. Let's look below x-axis. Now what is g of x? G of x is a straight line. There's a straight line. From there to here. And it continues forever. It is below the x-axis. There's your x-axis. There's a graph below the x-axis. So it is below the x-axis means it is less than 0. For what values? For all these values here. For all these values. So what are these values? These values are less than 3. Right from here, this way. It's x is less than 3. Alright, that's 4.6. Okay, and let's just do one more. 4.7. G of x is equal to 0. G of x is equal to 0. So this question is like 4.4. Equal to 0 means x-intercept. So this is a straight line. So they want the x-intercept here for the straight line. And the x-intercept for the straight line is 3. So the answer is x is equal to 3. Alright, so we're going to still do more interpretation on this parabola. But let's take a short break here and we'll come back with more questions.